Yo, what's up my brother, what's up my sister? This is your boy Oscar Ntege again with yet another amazing tutorial. In this particular tutorial, I'm going to show you the best and simplest way of how to get even skin tones in Photoshop. I'll say this again, this is the best and the simplest way there is to get even skin tones in Photoshop. What do I mean? When you look at this particular image, she has a blotchy kind of skin, and when I say blotchy, certain parts of her skin seem to be lighter than the others. For example, if you look at I'll just create a help layer here just to show you the different parts we want to match out. Yeah, when you look at this particular image, I'll use a blue since it's a bit opposite of the skin tone colors. When you look at this particular image, certain parts are really darker than the others. You know, when you look at this, oops, sorry, it's not visible enough, so I'll just come put up the opacity again here. Yeah, just for you guys, when you look at this, see that is all dark. Look at these are dark. This area is also dark. Now when you look at these zones around the mouth area, these are also dark. Look at these are dark. There is also these, you know, I mean, we are not eliminating the shadows and the contours of the face. No, what we are doing is making her skin even. That is the goal of this whole thing. When you look at this whole part, you know, yes, it is a shadow, but the shadow cannot really be this kind of dark. You know, when you zoom into the image, yeah, it's not a very big image, you realize that she has a little bit of reds and here. Actually, in Caucasian people, this is usually very visible in the pink skin tones. You see that somebody has a pink skin, reddish skin somewhere, and the other parts the skin seems to be clear in Caucasian people, while in us Africans it's usually a bit of darkening. You know, for us people who are brown skin, it is a bit, certain parts are usually dark, get dark and all that, like somebody has been sunburned. And if you're working on projects that don't have a lot of makeup, this is the best technique that is going to help you. I'm talking about natural portraits that don't have any kind of foundation, all that, because foundation will help you cover up all these patches. But this image here, she came on set raw, and it was just a shot we did, and yeah, here we are now in Photoshop going to put this whole thing right. So without further ado, I'm just going to erase this. Let us dive into this tutorial and I show you guys how we are going to address all this blotching issue, and we have her looking stunning. Ready? Okay, get your pens, get your books, and let us roll, let us drive this thing. Now, first things first, we're going to duplicate this layer twice, 1 and 2. Yeah, for those of you who are familiar with the technique I usually use, I love using the frequency separation technique. Now, the frequency separation technique, it's not going to be used as we use it every day. This is going to be a little bit different. So how are we going to do this? We are going to separate the tones. Yeah, these are going to be the tones, and these are going to be the textures. Oh, before I go there, I'm going to erase this just a little bit. Before we go there, first things first, the first thing you have to do is remove these particular big pimples. How do you do that? Usually you can either use a spot healing brush, but since we are dealing with a blotchy kind of skin, I prefer using a patch tool, because a patch tool is far better in removing big patches than a spot healing tool. So I would get my patch tool, make sure it is destination and source here that are selected. This transparency of course is not supposed to be, you know, ticked. You just come and first remove all these. you know. Basically what we are doing, we are saving ourselves from doing a lot of work. So what you do, the way it works, you just circle a particular part you want to erase and move it close to a place that doesn't have any pimple, and boom, you have it covered just like that, you know. I'm sure most of you know how to use the brush tool. So you just come and we first remove these big blotches, you know. Yeah, I'm a bit fast because I don't want the video to be so long. Yeah, just like that. See all these uneven, you know, you just move it close to a part that is even, just like that, you know. When you look at here, still the same issue. I'll remove also this highlight, it's not really that relevant for this, you know. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm removing the big blotches that can be, to reduce on the amount of work we would have done, you know, in the post-production process. In the, so let us, I don't know what I'm even saying, but you get the point. Okay, now when you look at this right now, at least we have worked a little percentage of getting rid of those first big blotches. So the next step we are going to do now, we are going to even out this whole skin. How are we going to do this? We are going to use a technique called frequency separation. What is frequency separation? Frequency separation is the process where you subdivide a picture into two different parts, where you have the textures separated from the colors of the pictures. When I say textures, everything, every line, every pimple, every tactile thing you see, yeah, I know smoothness is a texture, but here we are talking about the tactile texture, the relief texture on a particular image. That is what we mean when we say texture in terms of frequency separation, because the picture is made up of frequencies. So you usually have just like any form of art, like music is made up of frequencies and all that, also a picture. So frequency separation, you're separating the texture frequencies from the color frequencies. So how do we do that? I'm going to be very fast. If you want to watch the full explanation of my frequency separation video, just click the link up there, and yes, you will find the frequency separation video. In this particular one, I'm going to be very fast. So what you do, you duplicate this layer twice, just like that. So you're going to name the middle layer tones, and you're going to name the upper layer texture. So our tones are going to be in this layer, and our texture layer are going to be in this layer. What we are going to do, we are basically going to steal all the texture, or get all the texture from this tonal layer and put it all up here, and have all the colors from this layer and get them fixed into this particular layer. Let me see how we're going to do this. I need your attention here. First pause a little bit and look at this. Now what you do, you just unsee that, you select the tonal layer, come here into filter, you say blur, then you come and say Gaussian blur. So let us first put it at 0. So we want to maintain a particular kind of texture. I think I love this part of her texture here. Even this one wasn't bad, but I love to maintain these particular textures here. So I just come and make sure I blur out all the textures I would want to maintain in the texture layer. So everything that I want to subtract from this layer, I would blur it out here so that it resurfaces there. So I'll just come and I blur it out until I see, you know, I see no more texture. Like I told you in my previous tutorials, in my other tutorials, do not cram digits. Look at how big the image is, and you know, because the amount of blur you apply here largely depends on how far the object is from the camera, how the focal length, how big, how much pixels an image has. Because a 50 megapixel photo would not require the same amount of blur as a 20 megapixel photo. So this is a very small image. That's why the Gaussian blur is a bit low. So I'll just come here and say okay. So I'll come here in the upper texture layer and select it right here, and then I come and say image, apply. So the settings are already there. So remember, we want to steal texture from the texture we blurred from this particular tonal layer and bring it all up in the texture layer. How are we going to do this? So you come here in the layer and then you select tones. So when you select tones, you come here in the blending modes here and you say subtract. Remember, we are subtracting texture off the bottom layer, just like that. Leave the opacity at 100, leave the scale at 2, leave the offset at 128. I explain all these things in my frequency separation video. I'll also put a link in the description so that you go and see that video that really explains this whole thing. So you say okay. The next thing you say, you come here and say linear light. So I'll just put these in a group so that you guys see. When you look at this, these are it's actually the same image. This and this are the same image. This and this are both the same image, but the only difference is that this one has been separated into two, where we have textures alone and tones alone. You know, I'll just remove these and you see these are textures only. If I remove, you know, the eye icon, these are textures only, you know. And if I just do this, these are just colors. So I'll just continue with what we're doing now. Blotching. I'm back to evening out skin tones, and the first thing you're going to do, most people do the skin matching on this tonal layer. That is a no. Please don't do that, because that is, first of all, it is very destructive way of doing things, and two, if you make a mistake, you will have to go back and do the whole frequency separation thing from zero, which is time wasting. So what I advise is you create a new layer and work on that particular layer just slightly above the tonal layer. So how do we do? Select the tonal layer and come and click here and create a new layer, an empty layer above. So I'm going to rename this blotch. Well, I'm naming it blotch because it is the layer that is going to help us remove all these blotches. So we are going to use, you can use a clone stamp or you can use a brush, but I prefer using a brush. So how do we do this? You get your brush. We're going to reduce the opacity and flow here, and we are first going to work in normal. We either work in normal. Before I go through this now, how to know where to work is if it is, for example, very dark, and you want to darken a particular part, you can use the darken blending mode. If it is very bright, you turn this into, if you want to lighten up something, you turn this into lighten. Okay, I'll explain this. But if you want just something simple, something quick, a quick fix and all that, I use the normal. I'll keep it to normal, reduce the opacity 18 and flow at 13. Why I keep these at low? Because I want it to build slowly by slowly. So we're going to come, remove the hardness from the brush, make sure it's a soft brush. The hardness has to be in 0, and then depending on the size of the part you're going to work on, keep it, you know, keep the brush within that particular range. So what you do, you press your Alt key on the keyboard and choose a color closer next to. Now in this particular part here, I want to have it at least like that bright. So I just press Alt and pick a color and then paint over. I just come painting it over slowly by slowly. You know, maybe it's not bright. I select another color and then I paint it over. You know, I still come around this area, I pick, I still paint over. Remember, we are just building it slowly by slowly. You pick a color and paint over. And paint over. Still, you come here, pick a color, and you paint over. You use a big brush for bigger parts. Still, you come here, pick a color, and then you paint over. Remember, the goal is not to crush the shadows. The goal is to have a more even skin tones. Now, when you look at this, she looks like she was sunburnt. So you just come and pick a color here and then paint over slowly. You know, it is a simple build. I'll just show you the before and after. You may not be seeing the change on screen, I'm not sure, but let me see the before and the after. Before and after. See how we're building her skin slowly by slowly and bringing it back. Same applies here. So you come and choose a color here, because I want her neck color to be at least closer to her ear color. So I just come and paint over. You know, come, pick a color, and then paint over. Same applies to this. I pick a color right here. Let me just get a color from here, and then it is, I'm not making it very accurate. That's why you see part of the paint is going on to her blouse, but because I know I can always come back and correct it. That is why I discouraged you from the very start from using working on this particular layer, because it won't give you that painterly freedom of you know, exploring with the different fields. Just come here and paint over. So let us now zoom in. Yeah. Now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to work on these particular details. So how are we going to do that? I'll just create a black and white layer just right on top there, and then crush the reds. Not so much, of course, not so much. Just these ones only help me to see those particular dark parts that I need to, you know, to edit out. So I feel I need to brighten this a little bit more, you know. So I just come and remove it, and then come to my brush slowly, and then yeah, I'll come also here around the lip area, and because I feel these are too reddish, like on top of the lip, and then all over the tip of the nose here. Here. So basically you're using, so when you look at this image and what we had previously, let us see the before and after. Okay, here's the before, after, before, after. So let us do the same over here. So I get my brush tool still. So I just get a color that is around there that really matches, that I want to match the eye, and then just paint over. The goal is not to kill the shadows and the light, because we can always bring these back in the burning and dodging, you know. The goal is to have a skin that is even, that is going to make post-production easy for us. So let us see the before and after. Before and after, before and after. Okay, now let me try cleaning up this thing. So what I do, I just come to next to the blush layer and create a layer mask by clicking right there. So I get my brush tool here. Yeah, I make it big. I put the opacity and flow up, and then just paint black over here, just to to correct it, to correct all these particular parts. Now let us see before and after, before and after. At least if you, even if you're editing an image that did not have any kind of foundation or any kind of makeup, this is a very, very good starting point for you. You will have an image that at least has even skin tones, even when it didn't have any form of makeup. So let us try now editing the full skin, so that we have our final image, at least with the skin well done. Let us come to our lasso tool, keep the opacity and flow at 18. So you just come and begin selecting here, set filter, other, Gaussian blur, and then you begin blurring out. Excuse me, guys, I've had a cold for the past few days, and it's not been easy, but you just come and begin blurring out. Same here. Excuse me. Still same here. There too. Right there. There. So basically what we are doing is that. And the good thing about evening out the skin tones before you do even frequency separation, it kind of helps you not overly do it, like overly do this frequency separation that would make the skin look like have a feel of a Snapchat filter. You know how those pictures look like? And then do that. That was small. Same applies here. So guys, let's look at the before. That's the before. If we had done frequency separation before blotching, it would have looked like this. But after, rather before and evening out the texture, it would have looked like this. But if we do it before applying the frequency separation, this is how it looks. So let us see the before and after. That is the before and that is the after. The before and after, before and after. I mean, we have evened out her skin and we have still got those amazing skin tones. Guys, that's that for today. I hope to see you in my next tutorial. Hope today you've learned something. You've learned how to even out skin tones using frequency separation and just a brush through painting. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in my next tutorial, and adios.